Hello, I am Michael Fazio, and welcome to Issues, a series of programs produced by the Norristown Area School District. Today we have with us two representatives from the Children's Aid Society, Dolores Ragusa and Larry Budner. It is a pleasure to have the both of you on the show today.
Thank you.
Okay. I know you are here today to talk about the need for more foster parents in the community. But first, please tell me who you are and what is the Children's Aid Society.
I'm the Associate Executive Director of Children's Aid Society, and Children's Aid Society is a private, non-profit child welfare agency serving children, youth, and families. It was founded back in 1885 to provide foster care to children in Montgomery County. Over the years, it has expanded to serve children and families throughout the southeastern Pennsylvania, which includes Philadelphia, Bucks, Delaware, Chester, and continues to serve Montgomery County as well. The services provided have also grown to include counseling, in-home services where we go into the home and work with families and children, parent education classes, school-based services, and volunteer programs. In 1998, Children's Aid Society merged with Helpline Center in Lansdale and expanded its services to include group homes for adolescents and drug and alcohol programs, including counseling and prevention. The mission of Children's Aid Society is that we are committed to providing hope and support to children and families and communities to make their lives safer and more stable.
Okay. In addition to looking for more foster parents, specifically, how do you serve children? What programs do you offer?
We serve a multitude of programs we offer to children and families. I want to concentrate on the services offered to children and families in Montgomery County and specifically Norristown. First of all, we have individual and family counseling, where people come into the office and get counseling around family problems, adolescent problems, children problems. We also have a program we call New Horizon, where we send therapists and counselors and social workers out to the family's home, and we work with the families there. We have parent education classes in the evenings around age-appropriate education depending on the developmental age of the child. We're also the lead agency for the Norristown Family Center, which is located at the Human Services Building on DeKalb Street. We have our FAST program, which is in conjunction with Family Services of Montgomery County, and we provide that at the Hancock Elementary School. And what that is families and teachers together. It's done in conjunction with the community, the families, and the school. Another program that's very similar is Families Matter, which we actually go out to the homes of children referred and families referred by the schools, specifically Hancock Elementary, Paul Fly Elementary, and Whitehall Elementary schools. We have a volunteer program which matches volunteers, adults, with children in all of our programs. We also have programs that you have to access through offices of Montgomery County, the Office of Children and Youth or the Office of Aging and Adult Services. This includes foster care, group homes, counseling, and in-home services. And finally, one other program I wanted to say is that if you are arrested for driving under the influence, we run education classes so people can keep their licenses and stay out of prison. So those are the other programs we offer.
Okay, thank you.
Children's Aid Society is located at 1314 DeKalb Street in Norristown. And our telephone number I can give now, and it'll be shared at the end, which is 610-279-2755.
Okay. Now, about foster parents, why is there such a need now for more foster parents?
Well, there are more children coming into foster care, primarily because of an increase in parental drug use, and We now have more households where both parents are working, which depletes the pool that we had in former years that provided more women who would be available to be home for children. And also, under today's system, many of the foster parents who have had children in their home adopt them. And once they adopt children, they have increased the numbers in their own family and are not available for further fostering.
Okay. Who are you looking for to be foster parents? What are the qualifications?
Well, to be a foster parent, you must be 21 years of age, you must be physically capable of taking care of children, and you must be free from communicable diseases. We're looking for people who have the ability to provide supervision, care, and nurturing to children.
Okay.
In society today, the concept of what a family is changing. So we're talking about individuals, couples, men or women. So you don't have to stay at home all day. You can work. But you have to be there to provide the care that any child would need.
Okay.
So it's changed over the years.
So what exactly does a foster parent have to do?
Well, a foster parent must provide a safe environment, a safe nurturing environment for children, and must be sure that they receive the medical and dental care that all children should have. In other words, they need to do for foster children what they would be doing for their own children.
Okay. Is a foster parent paid?
There is a stipend given for children's basic needs. It is not an income for foster parents. It is a daily rate provided for the basic needs such as food, shelter, clothing, and incidentals.
Okay. Is there training for new foster parents? If so, what is the training like?
The training is held at our agency, and it is based on state regulations, also giving the foster parents an idea of what they will encounter, the types of children that come into care, agency and state philosophies and regulations, and what it means to work with the agency as well.
Someone who would want to be a foster parent would contact our agency, and one of our staff would call them and ask them some questions to make sure they have a better understanding of what being a foster parent is. They would give them the information they would need to pursue it if they wanted to. They would send them a brochure. At that point, they would sign up if they wanted to continue to come to a training and to be an orientation. Our trainings now are up to 20 hours long, so there is an investment here before you even ever see a child become a foster parent. After you complete the training, if you still want to do it, we go out to the family's home and we make sure they have a safe environment to, or if it's not a safe environment, which is like you need fire extinguishers, fire alarms, things like that, we make sure they do it. They also have to have the necessary space to have foster children in their home. Some people might think that you could have a girl and a boy in the same room, and in certain instances you can, depending on their age, but in other instances you cannot. So we would have to go through all that before we could certify you to be a foster parent. So it's a long process, and it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of time before you really ever see the child, which is the reason you're doing it in the first place.
Okay. Now suppose the child is disabled in some way.
Well, we do have a medical foster care program, and some foster parents are very skilled in working with children with medical problems. The people who are very interested in that come to the agency with that kind of request, that they would like to take care of children. And we have close associations with the hospitals and medical sources in the area. There is a 30 to 60 day evaluation period, so to speak, after placement, at which time we are making assessments of children's needs, and we would determine what the child needed.
Yeah. Any child that was in a hospital, left the hospital, and goes into placement, our staff would meet with medical personnel at the hospitals to find out what the prescription is and the plan is to make sure that child is safe in treatment and in care. So we would then involve the foster parents in that training as well.
What if the child misbehaves or has destructive emotional problems?
Well, there again, we sometimes know this when children come into care. If there is information from the referring source, we would be prepared for that. However, again, the basic intake period of 30 to 60 days would point out the emotional and disturbing situations that would require evaluation and possibly a therapeutic source, which we would refer to.
Okay.
Foster parents are not alone in this work. Each child also is assigned a social worker from our agency that visits the family on a every other week basis and sometimes weekly, depending on the needs of the child and the family. And all the issues are addressed on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis. So if there are problems, we don't just wait for them to fester. We address them as soon as possible. And we resolve most of those problems. And if a child is failing at a home, sometimes we'll take them out of the home and put them in another home if that's in the best interest of the child.
Okay. What about the biological parents? Do they have the right to see their child?
According to state regulations, they're entitled to 2 visits a month. If the goal is reunification, sometimes the visitation is accelerated, and close to reunification, they would have more visits with their children.
Okay.
Right. The only thing that would make that not happen is a court order that says that a child cannot see their parents. And in fact, the visits can take place in the foster home, in the biological home, in a community setting, or at our office. So we have a lot of ways to adapt to the situation depending upon the needs of the child and the presenting problems.
Do foster parents get too attached? So is it hard to say goodbye?
It's very hard. That's one of the hard things about foster parenting, because the foster parents make quite an investment emotionally with children, and it is difficult. However, sometimes when the child comes into care, the foster parent realizes that it is a goal of reunification. The child will be leaving, and they try not to have a terribly hard time at separation, but it's difficult.
It takes a very special person to be a foster parent. They have to invest so much and yet be ready to, like you say, say goodbye. It's very hard.
Okay. Would you say being a foster parent is a way for people to see if they want to adopt?
In today's environment, that's much more likely. Many people come into foster parenting with that in mind. Some don't, and quite a few of them end up adopting the children who have been in their homes.
We used to have orientation and trainings for people that wanted to adopt, which were separate from our foster care trainings, and now more and more of those trainings are done simultaneously and together because people have this dual goal.
Tell us the hardest things and the best aspects of being foster parents.
Well, I think the hardest is the emotional involvement and attachment, and doing everything that you possibly can for a child who comes from a situation that's very painful. Many of our children are coming in having experienced problems in the homes that they left. So working with that and getting a child to a more positive place, and then perhaps seeing that child leave, is very difficult. So I think that's one of the hardest things. Also, another difficulty for foster parents is their lack of control over the child's destiny, so to speak. These things are decided by courts and mandates. I think the gratification is knowing that they have helped a child along the way when the parents were not there and could not do what was necessary.
Let me answer the problem of difficulty from another aspect, and that is, I'm a parent of 2 teenagers, and when they have a problem, I know how the problem developed because I've been there since the beginning. When you become a foster parent, you don't necessarily know how the problem began, and it takes a lot of skill to learn how to address those issues because you have to make a lot of assumptions, unfortunately, and it's hard work. And I think most foster parents realize that the children are better off than they would have been if they hadn't lived in their home. And to be able to truly believe that and feel that must be the most rewarding experience in the world.
Okay. Who can we call to get more information or to attend a meeting on becoming a foster parent?
You can call our agency, Children's Aid Society, 610-279-2755, and request information.
That phone number is our general phone line, and they can refer you to the person you'd want to speak to. You'd speak to different people depending upon whether you wanted to access services we spoke about today, whether you wanted to be a foster parent, or whether you just had some questions about concerns in your own family or in the community, or wanted to know what resources were available. So just call that number, 610-279-2755. 2755, and they'll direct you to the person who can help you the best.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you would like to add?
I just wanted to say that Children's Aid Society began in Norristown and has served the Norristown community for well over 100 years. And with the growth of Children's Aid Society, we now serve a much wider geographic area, but we really still focus on Norristown because that's where we are located.
Okay. Well, Dolores and Larry, it's been a pleasure. You have been watching Issues, a series of programs produced by the Norristown Area School District. Today's guests have been Dolores Ragusa and Larry Budner. Thank you for being here today. Stay tuned for more issues.